That's good. That was quite interesting. That was more interesting than I expected.
Yeah. Well, hello there, EFD squad, and welcome back to Continental Club, where we discuss the hottest topics in European football. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for getting your submissions in. Now, as you may have noticed, no UCL review on EFD this week because we played a momentous fixture, didn't we? EFD versus FD. You'll find out the score next week. Who came out on top?
Can't tell you.
Suspense. Top secret.
Insert suspense.
Anyway, let's go over to our first question. It comes from Emil Silanpa, and he's asked, who was your player of the week in this week's Champions League fixture?
Ooh.
Match day 4. McCubbin, kick us off.
Well, I'm going to go for the obvious one, because hold my hands up, I haven't actually been able to watch that much Champions League football this week. But yeah, it's got to be Dele Alli, right? Like, he scored 2 goals. I mean, yeah, without even going into his performance, he scored 2 goals against Real Madrid to, inflict their first defeat since 2012, I think, in the group stages. First time Real Madrid have lost in the group stages.
That's
since
amazing.
2012.
And was it this time not last year, this time 5 years ago, he's making his debut for MK Dons, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean,
Or
he
even
was
longer
butting
than that,
glint in Pochettino's eye. Yeah, and he also, completed 5 dribbles, made 4 tackles. That was 3 more than Eric Dyer actually managed. And yeah, 2 goals from his 3 shots. So I mean, aside from the stats, just that kind of performance against that kind of opposition, such a big night for Spurs in Europe. Like, yeah, biggest since Bale took apart Inter Milan, arguably bigger than that. So I mean, yeah, just for the magnitude of the performance on that kind of occasion, gotta go with him.
I think that's going to be hard to compete with. Pato?
Yeah, I mean, I think a bunch of Spurs players could make it in there. Like, Hugo Lloris, I would think about putting him in because, look, I thought Spurs were clearly the better team on the night, but when you look at the shot count, you look at the expected goals map, you see that Real Madrid had plenty of chances. Like, they really did. No matter how badly they play, they always get shots. They always get shots in good zones. And Lloris, I think he made something like 8 saves, something like that. Really, really good performance. And of course, he was incredible in the other leg at the Bernabeu.
Yeah.
I think a tempting place to go is Paris, right? And Layvan Kurzawa, who of course is a left back and yet got a hat-trick against Anderlecht.
What's the point? What's the point? When their
isn't
left
it?
back's scoring a hattie, should we just call it a day now?
Haven't both
Award them the Champions League.
Haven't both their first choice fullbacks this season scored a hat-trick? Meunier did it on
Meunier.
international duty, didn't he?
Yeah.
Something like that. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, but at the same time, it's PSG versus Anderlecht. I'm not that impressed. I'd be far more inclined, if I'd watched the game, I assume that there's somebody from the Celtic game against Bayern, because I looked at the shot map there as well, and frankly, it looked to me like Celtic got done by maybe a bit of individual brilliance or whatever, because overall it seems like they were the superior side.
Well, I mean, I think it'd be fair to say so on the night. Javi Martinez stole the 3 points with an inexplicably good header. I don't know how he's got that high. I don't know why he's arriving so late in the box as a defensive midfielder. But yeah, I was extremely impressed with Celtic, and that's the only Champions League fixture I really paid attention to. And in particular, in that game, our fullbacks, who were playing a sort of 3-5-2 with James Forrest on the right and Kieran Tierney on the left, they impressed immensely, particularly the former, as he's not a natural wing-back, whereas Tierney has performed excellently, so consistently this season and in the Champions League last season as well, that you kind of expect that level of performance from him now. I mean, just taking a look at their particulars, you have Forrest here, 5 dribbles, 5 key passes from 50 passes in total. That's 10 more passes than Vidal, although Vidal did come off, but only 10 fewer than Tolisso, who's the metronome in that side, isn't he? He's the one responsible for maintaining possession, recycling play, kicking things off, taking Xabi Alonso's role after his 40 million move in the summer. But Forrest also got an assist with an amazing through ball to Callum McGregor. And it's just great to see 3 homegrown talents performing at that level. You have Kieran Tierney, who's man-marked Iron Robin extremely well over 2 legs down the left-hand side. And you have Forrest playing the ball through to McGregor, another academy prospect who's tucked the ball in between Sven Ulrich's legs. Now, Bayern were missing a couple of key players, the goalkeeper being one, Manny Neuer. Robert Lewandowski was out, which isn't great, but James Rodriguez has been in a great vein of form, playing in that false number 9. Thomas Muller has only just got back into the side. So would he strengthen it? Would he weaken it? That's up for debate. And it was a great performance by Celtic. I just think, for me, the result aside, the performance was probably more important. And the self-belief, I believe, that'll instill will have a good impact on our Europa League campaign. Touch wood. Hopefully we'll beat Anderlecht at home. Obviously secured an excellent win against them away from home. But some great teams dropping down into the Europa League now.
Yeah.
Napoli, Dortmund, Celtic. Can you think of any others?
Was Atletico?
Yeah,
like they're going
Atletico.
to? Yeah, Roma
That's
and
the
Chelsea.
third one after their 2 draws with Karabag, Ballbag. Although expected goals did put them at a 2-1 win in both those games, so they have been a little bit unlucky in the Champions League this season. But who was your player who starred in the Champions League this week? Let us know. Twitter, Instagram, comments below, all of the above. Next question.
My phone's going.
Our next question comes from goalkeeper Enzo, and he's asked, do Real Madrid need to spend big in January in order to get their season back on track? Now, they're currently 8 points behind Barcelona in La Liga. In third, obviously, Marcelino's Valencia are second, exceeding expectations. They're second in their Champions League group now, behind Spurs. Obviously, looks set to qualify anyway. Now, after relinquishing the services of Morata and James Rodriguez, this has led Ronaldo to say the squad lacks experience. Do you think this is fair, Passo, or are they just on a run of poor luck? What can we attribute their slump to?
I think they are on a bit of a run of poor luck. At the same time, I thought they were, like we said, clearly second best against Spurs. I don't think that Zidane has proven himself to be a particularly tactically flexible manager. Like, he changes formation, sure, but that's not the same thing as changing tactics. What they've been under Zidane is like a volume team. They just create a lot of shots, and basically because they've got exceptional players, exceptional finishers, they tend to score quite a bit. They also do very well from set pieces. They're really, really good in the air as a side. But that's not the same thing as being able to play in different ways. What we've seen from Pochettino at Spurs this season is a new style of playing. They've actually they've beaten Liverpool, they've beaten Real Madrid at Wembley with about 35% possession in those games.
Yeah.
And it's not what they were doing before, where they were trying to press all the way up to the penalty area of the other side, maybe because the pitch is a little bit bigger and that's a little bit too taxing. What they've actually been doing is sitting back, covering passing lanes, and then when they cut off those passes, springing quick counter-attacks. Now, I don't see Real Madrid necessarily doing that. I see Real Madrid just they want to dominate the ball. They don't really play with any weird. They just kind of want to get things into Ronaldo and hope that he can beat the centre back in a slightly wide zone and maybe get a shot in. I'm not sure that Zidane is capable of rejigging the team when they need it. He's just good at motivating the team. That's what we've seen from him so far. Ronaldo saying the squad needs more experience, I mean, that's a fantastically stupid thing to say. Like, the squad's got loads of experience. The squad doesn't need experience. What it needs actually is talent for the future that will help it transition out of this current kind of golden generation. There's plenty of experience there. It's hard to actually see what they could do in the market in January to improve that first 11. The first 11's incredible.
Yeah.
What they need to do is just get firing again. And frankly, also, they have had a bit of bad luck on the finishing end. Like, if you look at their expected goals through the season, you look at their shot counts, there are games where they're just racking up chance after chance after chance, and for whatever reason, it isn't going in. And sometimes that just happens.
Well, Ronaldo himself has a conversion rate of 2.5% in La Liga, which is the worst of any striker who's scored in Europe's top 5 leagues. But yeah, I think they really missed Varane against Tottenham. Although I do like Nacho, I think he's a good squad player. I think they missed the athleticism, the speed of Varane just mopping up next to Ramos, who on occasions is a little bit like Otamendi, isn't he? A bit hot-headed. He can break the lines quite frequently. But they have good experience in the form of their squad players too. Lucas Vazquez, Nacho. I mean, can you think of any other substitutes who offer good experience as well? Obviously, they've got a small squad because they've offloaded quite a lot of big names in the last 2 or 3 years. I think Zidane's actually posted profit in terms of his transfer dealings, which is a rarity for a Real Madrid manager under Florentino Perez. Obviously favouring young talent like Ceballos and Teo Hernandez, who haven't really got a sniff yet. I think Ceballos has got a couple of goals, but Teo Hernandez, I think he made his Champions League debut against Spurs when he came on, but that was in the latter stages of the game. And he's not had a chance to sort of strut his stuff, has he, after joining from Atletico after that great season at Alaves. But I think a lot of what you said is very good, Pato, as always. Bang on the money. Anything to add to that, Cubbin?
Not really, to be honest. Yeah, you've covered most of the bases there. I think it does come down to, I guess over the next 6 months we will see whether Zidane is really cut out for the job in the long term.
Yeah.
I saw, obviously, everyone's been chatting about Real this week, including former players and whatnot. And James Rodriguez came out and apparently said that he attributes a lot of the success that Zidane had to the work previously done by Ancelotti, which may have something to do with James and Zidane's relationship, which I understand to not be great. But there is perhaps something in that. They did have Ancelotti, and then before him Mourinho at Real, and they provided a lot of the foundations which we see in the Real squad now. The kind of the positives that Zidane has done, I guess, is bringing in players like Ceballos and Theo Hernandez, kind of changing that kind of philosophy of the club.
I mean, they've been unlucky in the league so far this season, haven't they? They should have won a couple of games, particularly against Valencia. If they had done, they wouldn't be the points margin wouldn't be as big as 8, would it? People might not be getting as panicky as they are. Is there an obvious flaw in that squad of 23? As you said, who is out there that would immediately strengthen that side? Do you think they'd go all guns blazing for someone like Antoine Griezmann, who we know to have a buyout clause? I doubt they'd sign anyone from the Prem. It's just the mind boggles, Pat.
You look at that team though, and you think, I don't know, in the first 11, there certainly is on the bench, but but I think you have to play someone like him with Ronaldo, unless you're just going to play Ronaldo as a 9, which frankly they should do, because you look at that team the other day against Spurs, where's the pace in that team? Like, Ronaldo is obviously fast, but he's not going to run up and down all day. He conserves his energy for the times that it really matters. And you don't have any width at all when you don't have Bale Vazquez or anyone like that, or Asensio, because Zidane's decided he wants to play Isco in there. It just seems to me like Isco and Modric are kind of doing each other's roles to some extent, and actually they'd be better off spending kind of one of those positions on somebody who can provide some width and actually beat a man, which frankly nobody in that team really does in the decisive area.
Was it the Christian Eriksen goal where Modric was tracking back? I think he was the furthest back player for Real Madrid, and I just thought there's some sort of disconnect here between the midfield and attack. Are they sitting too deep? Are they just inviting pressure on? But as you said in the previous section, Lloris had to make 8 saves. The score line could have been a heck of a lot closer. Maybe they misunderestimated Spurs to an extent, although they shouldn't have after that 1-1 draw at home. But Bale made a great start to the season, didn't he? So maybe he's been a big miss for them, which is actually juxtaposed to the fans' opinion of him. Because I think he was involved in 8 or 9 goals in his first 10 games of the season, and he is an explosive player in terms of pace, isn't he? So maybe they are missing that out and out width and pace. Who knows? Do you know? Let us know in the comments below. Our final question comes from Mathar Chetavedi, and he's asked a 2-pronged question, the greedy bastard. Number 1, can Neymar win the Ballon d'Or next year? Number 2, could this possibly be Ronaldo's last as a nominee/winner realistically? Now, in my opinion, Neymar's got to win the Champions League and be the main man in that UCL winning campaign, or he's got to win the World Cup and hope that Messi doesn't maintain his form in La Liga and also win the Champions League, because he's been incredible at the start of the season, hasn't he? Messi, 12 goals already, although Neymar has not been bad either, has he? But Zlatan Ibrahimovic won the treble at PSG, scored 60 goals in a season, and we're still nowhere near it. So I think the French domestic scene is a little bit discounted. Lads, shed some light.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you there. Obviously, Ronaldo and Messi, is it like 7-8 years or longer that they've dominated the award? Since
it's now the Ballon d'Or and the best. They're 2 separate awards, aren't they?
So, yeah. Well, it's back like it used to be when we used to have the World Player of the Year separate from the Ballon d'Or as well, which meant that players like Nedved tended to kind of sneak in and get the Ballon d'Or, which doesn't seem to be the case now. So that could be a development, but I have to agree. I think I'll address the Ronaldo question first, actually. Yeah, I think I'd agree. Yeah, possibly could be his loss, but it kind of depends again on how Real do, and also how Ronaldo does scoring wise. Because I mean, yeah, I guess the last couple of seasons it's arguable whether Ronaldo really truly deserved to get the Ballon d'Or, but he's kind of carried on his scoring record. Things like Portugal winning the Euros. They're almost definitely not going to repeat that feat at the World Cup. So yeah, I think then by the year afterwards, it could be 2019. He'll be like 34. He's managed it as a 34-year-old Ronaldo winning the award. Yeah, I think this could be his last year.
I anticipate him playing at a high level still.
Yeah,
but not being one of the front runners for the award. What do you make of it?
I think it's always possible that Ronaldo will kind of pull it out of the bag. But frankly, I don't think he's Real Madrid's most important player anymore, though I'm not sure he was last season either. So, I don't know. It's kind of done on reputation. Like, to be honest, I think the Ballon d'Or is stupid. I think it fundamentally misunderstands football, and I think it's kind of for teenagers who care about that sort of thing, and for the players who, of course, want recognition, or certain players who want individual recognition. Like, I completely agree with you that if Neymar wants to win it, he's probably going to have to do something big and obvious, because the kind of people who vote in the Ballon d'Or, we all said in the summer, oh, maybe more people will watch French football now that Neymar and Mbappe have gone to PSG. I don't know if anyone really is. Like, I'm sure the odd person is, but I'm not sure people are paying that much more attention to
Do you think he's getting the credit for the numbers he's putting out at the minute? Because even in the Champions League, he's achieving 7-8 dribbles a game, a goal a game, an assist a game. It's ridiculous, the Brazilians' form at the start of the season. Yeah,
though, I mean, their group, Bayern aside, their group is not difficult. They've got so much firepower. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, it's no fun really.
Mbappe's been ridiculous as well.
And they were very good against Bayern Munich, but Neymar was by no means the best player on the pitch. I thought Mbappe was clearly better than him. I mean, it would actually be really, really funny if they won the Champions League and Mbappe was the star man and Mbappe won the Ballon d'Or. I think that would be quite amusing, because it's clearly something Neymar cares about. Yeah. It's clearly something he wants, like individual recognition. I just find it a little bit distasteful. Like, of course, everyone wants recognition in their job, but maybe then don't go into fucking football, which is a team sport. Like, it just seems silly to me. Like, if he wins the World Cup with Brazil, then maybe he'll deserve it, because whilst the Brazilian squad is very, very good, I don't think that their manager's great. I don't think that they're that well set up.
I really like Tite.
I think he's all right.
I mean, he's yet to prove it at the top level. He won the Copa Libertadores with Corinthians, didn't he? And he actually came to study at Arsenal and Real Madrid. So
yeah, but those are not the greatest places to study, I think.
Well, you said it.
Yeah.
But I really like Tite. But I sympathise with his ambitions to win the best, or the Ballon d'Or, or whatever it's called. And imagine being that player who breaks the hegemony that Ronaldo and Messi have set in the last 7 or 8 years. It'd be quite something, given they are arguably two of the best players ever.
It'd be impressive, but it's just like
it's
a weird aspiration
on it,
to
and
have.
the sort of the artifice around it is a little bit distasteful. I agree, but I don't begrudge him that goal.
I think he's a dick. I think
he is, but he's a brilliant footballer.
And also what McCubbin said about Nedved winning it. Like, when Nedved won it, it wasn't just a recognition of like his ability, but it was a recognition that football is not just about scoring goals, that it is about doing other things. It's about, people who do the tireless yards in midfield. Like, so for instance, look, we had EFD versus FD yesterday. Hamill was playing in DM for me. Did Hamill score a goal? No. Did he even have a good shot? Not really.
Arguably.
However, had a really, really good performance, because it was just like, he's actually working hard for his teammates. And to me, when I watch football and I see that person who's like working so hard to make life easier for their teammates, to increase the chances that their team wins, those are the kind of players I respect.
So what you're saying is I should win the Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, I'm saying that. I'm not saying you should win it, but I'm saying you should be shortlisted.
Who do you think?
Watch
then,
the space.
What footballers at current aren't getting recognition, or should be up there in your opinion, or who would you just like to see win it? Well, maybe a Luka Modric.
Yeah. Someone like a Modric, or of course, like one of those guys. Busquets even. Busquets, I think the two best players of our time are Messi and Busquets, and Buffon. I think Messi, Busquets, and Buffon are the 3 players right now who are the best of all time.
I mean, Busquets,
in their position,
if he was to win it based on his form over a 10-year period, it couldn't really be argued against. He has looked a little bit fatigued in the last 2 years, but that's because he needs a little bit of help. Yeah, I think Busquets, Kroos, Modric are outstanding candidates. Anyone in the maybe Kevin De Bruyne if he maintains his form.
Yeah.
Marcelo, though he's not had a great start.
Felipe Luis, even like these are the kind of guys like they're really special players
for their side.
Yeah.
He's evaded Arjen Robben as well over the last 10 years.
That's
a
big
great
shame.
shout, actually. And then obviously like Iniesta when he was kind of on well-beating form as well, missed out, purely because of the.
He's been used more sparingly this season, but he's been fucking great when he's come back in. Who do you guys think deserves to win the Ballon d'Or? Let us know. Yeah, there, near Pato's crotch. So once again, thank you for joining us. That's all on this week's Continental Club. But what is happening in the Football Daily universe, Pato? Because we're like Marvel, aren't we?
Yeah.
Extended family. Easter eggs. 90+1.
Yeah, 90+1 facts. I believe there's 90+1 facts about Chelsea out. That should be hitting your screens pretty soon if it hasn't already. So following hot on the heels of Jose Mourinho, makes sense.
Stat Wars the champions returning next week, I believe, but Stat Wars tomorrow, regular show.
Also
Your 2 favourite people back. Don't have to deal with me and Zach being absolutely rubbish. And like and subscribe.
You said it. Bye.